Hello, everybody. My name is Gabe Howard, and I live with bipolar disorder. And I'm here to talk about all of the things that we're supposed to do to get through the quarantine and the coronavirus and maintain our mental health. One of the things that I was thinking about is the World Health Organization has this thing called Do the Five, and I agree with it. You know, hands, wash them often, elbows, cough into it, face, don't touch it, space, keep a safe distance, and home stay if you can. And I think about what good advice this is for the average American, for the normals, the stereotypical, the thing that most people are. And then I think about how this advice works for people with serious and persistent mental illness, people like me, people with bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders. And I think, hands, wash them often. The World Health Organization is telling us to wash our hands all the time. Now I have paranoia, I have anxiety, and somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, for example, I take 3 showers a day. That's just where I'm going with this. I take 3 showers a day, and I know that's not the same as washing our hands, but now like the World Health Organization is like, hey, rub soap on your body more. Well, more for me, which is already too much, is already too much. So it's not the greatest advice. Now, coughing into your elbow, that's fine. I get that. Except now I'm terrified of people's elbows. Like it never really occurred to me how often people coughed and sneezed when I touch them or hug them. And then we move on to number three, face. Don't touch it. You you just told me not to touch my face. All I want to do now is touch my face. And there's this little part of me that just thinks about like all of the joy that I have already lost in the world living with bipolar disorder, and now my face can't be touched. Like it's my face. Like I so desperately want to touch it right now. Keep a safe distance. This is social isolation is a big deal. It's a big deal for people with severe and persistent mental illness. It's it's just a problem. We lose perspective because we're not talking to our friends and family members. Sometimes we lose our friends and family members because we're not present and we don't show up. And quarantining is something that many of us, especially with our anxiety and our panic disorders and depression, that we want to do anyways. And now the whole world is like, hey, hide. What happens in 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks when this becomes a habit for us, and then we're allowed to leave again, but we don't want to because we've gotten used to the pain. And this reminds me of when I was first diagnosed and I just wanted to hide. And that gets me to number five for do the five to help stop coronavirus. Stay home if you can. This is bad advice for me, and it's triggering because it reminds me of my depression. It reminds me of how I just stayed in my house and didn't leave my room and hid from the world. And I was okay losing all of my friends and family because I just wanted to isolate. And that's where I just get in my own head and I think, when I wanted to stay home and keep a safe distance and not leave and hide from the whole world, they called it isolation and it was bad. Now we call it quarantine and it's good, or social distancing. And I got to tell you, to me, it doesn't matter how you name it or if the whole world's doing it or if restaurants are closed. It feels very much like all of the behavior that I have worked so hard to end and prevent and move on from. And I just think, wow, what's going to happen? And there's lots of analogies here. Over on the substance abuse side, if you have surgery and you need painkillers to get through the surgery, they're like, look, it's too much. And some people that have been sober with alcohol for 20 years, that they get pressures like, well, you can toast your daughter and have a sip of wine. Or in the Catholic community, we have communion, and like, oh, well, that doesn't count. Look, it all counts. It all feels the same way, and it gets difficult. These things get difficult because to the average person, they're also very reasonable. But I'm different. And there's not a do the five for people with bipolar disorder. There's not a do the five for people with mental health issues. There's not a do the five for people with anxiety. And hey, there needs to be. And I just think that even in this pandemic, we're still forgotten. the world is not coming up with special help for us. Now, thankfully, there's many great charities like, NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, who, quick plug, are helping to fund these videos. They're looking out for us. They're giving us the information that we need, and that is fantastic. And I want to say to all the people like me, all the people with serious and persistent mental illness, we've got to find this info because we want to survive and we want to live good lives, and we're gonna survive and we're gonna live good lives. And I'm here for you, and we're here together. And I want to say to all of our friends and family members, our caregivers, our support systems, be patient with us, because the whole world is spending billions of dollars to help the average. And even in the best of times, they're not spending that kind of money or that kind of time or those kinds of resources to help us. And we've largely been forgotten. So when we're having our issues, when we're acting abnormal, remember, the whole world is acting abnormally. So it's not surprising that we would be handling this different as well. So please, if you can have a moment of patience with us, we would really appreciate it. And to all of the people like me, hey, don't abuse that patience. We've got to get through this together. Hug your mom, hug your dad, hug your sister, hug your spouse, hug anybody, except wait, keep a safe distance and stay home if you can. It all seems like such a good idea on the surface, but it's not always. My name is Gabe Howard. I'm a certified peer specialist. And I can't even edit this out. My name is Gabe Howard. I am a certified peer specialist out of the state of Ohio. I am the author of the book. Hang on. I have it this time. Mental Illness is an Asshole. You can grab it on my website, gabehoward.com, and I hope you will check it out. And I will see everybody in a few days. Please, please be safe out there.